Narayana, Shri Guru. Om Shri Shailabhijanambura Shishnam Sri Krishna Tatatmajam Sri Shailanve Devanatha Sudhya Praptagamanta Dvayam Padabje Narsimha Tate Guroho Nyastatma Raksha Bharam Vidvadvranda Chakora Chandiramaham Ramanujaryam Shraye Shriranga Sudha Madhusama Swadayantam Shriranga Mahishi Padapankajatmajam Sulabhashrayam Sadamoda Siddham Adbhutam Bhajeham Gurum Tam Ranganatha Priyam Sukhasanastham Hridayabjapithe Chinmudraya Langata Pani Padmam Shubhopavitam Vimalodhvapundram Namami Rangam Gurum Antarange Namami Yoga Samrajni Vijayam Vijayapradam Srirangardhasanaseenam Karunam Mamamataram Guru Rupa Paranjyoti Jyoti Rupa Guru Paraha Ajnana Mandiram Hetate Guru Vijnana Mandiram Mukhaṁ Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhaite Girim Itkripa Tamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Yontah Pravishya Mama Vachamimam Prasuttam Sanjeevayatyakila Shaktidhara Swadhamna Anyam Sahasta Charana Shravanatvagaadine Pranam Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam Jetyashrita Santrasa Bhanta Vidhvam Sanodaya Prabhavan Sitaya Devya Paramo Vyoma Bhaskaraha Sakradeva Prapannaya Tavasmiti Chayachate Abhayam Sarvabhutebhyaha Dadam Yetatvatam Mama Manojavam Martatulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Vatatmajam Vanarayutha Mukhyam Shriramadutam Shirasa Namami Vedavedye Pare Pumsi Jate Dasharathatmaje Veda Prache Tasadasite Sakshad Ramayanatmana. With salutations to our Guru and the Guru of all Gurus, we'll commence our session today. So in the last session, it was a Vijayadashmi day, so we thought we'll have a brief class. I think we ended up discussing more slokas than what I had originally planned. But essentially, the mala of slokas we are seeing right now, it describes the takeoff of the flight called Lord Hanuman towards his goal, which is Lanka. We have seen how Hanuman describes himself as the arrow that is actually leaving the bow of Lord Rama, having prepared himself completely towards the glorious mission that he has ahead of him, having acquired all the powers to transcend the gravity of earth, having obtained the intellect that will be required in order to face any obstacles on the way, and lastly, having surrendered himself completely like an arrow does to the bow, that when the arrow leaves the bow, it will reach its destination. So that's the great manner in which this jet engine propels itself. And as a part of the takeoff process, Valmiki explains everything in great detail. First of all, he explains how he positions himself physically, then mentally, and then spiritually. We have seen all that, isn't it? And as he takes off, he carries with him the trees that got uprooted, isn't it? Along with the flowers. Most of the trees were flower bearing, and Valmiki beautifully describes how the lighter ones got stuck to his feet, isn't it? Including shrubs and flowers, and the heavier ones started to fall off. And then he describes what that scene looked like. On the one hand, he describes Hanuman. Then he describes the flowers and shrubs. He also describes the heavy trees that are falling off to the ocean. Finally, he describes the ocean also, saying that the ocean itself looks like the sky sprinkled with stars. Right? It is reflecting the flowers that are above in some sense. And after that, Valmiki describes now Hanuman and his divine parts of the body. Yeah? So we saw how he describes the Bahu. I think, yeah. I think you have to reduce the volume. Tasyambaragato Bahu Dadrishate Prasarito Parvatagate Vinishkranto Panchasyavyo Pannagau. So the analogy he gives is that the Bahu resemble the Pannagas, or the snake, the five-headed snake, which is emerging from the mountain. That means the mountain is his body, and the Bahu are the Pannagas. Okay. Then Pibanniva Babhau Chapi Sormimalam Maharnavam Pipasiriva Chakasham Dadrishecha Mahakapihi. And then he describes that Hanuman appeared as if he is going to gulp the entire ocean below him. And he is also looking up at the sky. Tasya Vidyut Prabhakare Vayur Marganusarinaha Nayane Viprakashete Parvatastha Vivananav. Then he describes his eyes as if they are red in color, like Vanni or Agni. And the analogy he gives is just like lightning. Various streaks of lightning emanate from clouds. Like that, bright and shining were his eyes, red in color. Pinge Pingaksha Mukhyasya Brihati Parimandale Chakshushi Samprakashate Chandra Surya Vivoditau. He further describes that the eyes resemble Surya and Chandra, and we had a brief detour on the aspect of Surya and Chandra being central to describing the eyes of Devatas, Devadevatas, as well as great yogis. Our Sanatana Dharma is so great and profound that whatever is described in a physical sense has often hidden meanings which need to be learned at the feet of holy gurus, holy men. And we had seen how Surya and Chandra are essentially not just star and planet, or a satellite of a planet, but they are a part and parcel of Brahma's creation. This Pindanda, which is the body, is an exact replica of the Brahmanda, which is the universe. And that was the process of creation which gave extreme elation and joy to Brahma himself. And we saw how Brahma started off his creation with the Lord's Sankalpam, but the very first few people he created were not interested in furthering Brahma's objective. They were furthering their grandfather's objective, which is Sriman Narayana's, essentially making people to go back in the spiritual path to the Lord. They were not interested in reproducing or creating progeny. That is when he started to look at building a body and a structure which is capable of being a true mirror to the Lord himself and a way to the Lord. Of course, there are a variety of other things that are part of the creation, including plants, animals, and so on. But the best creation of Brahma is a human being. That's the reason why Dullabham Manusha Janmanam. Right? What are the three things that are very difficult to get? Manushyatvam, Mumukshutvam, Mahapurusha Samshrayaha. These three are very, very difficult. Dullabham for people. What are they? Manushyatvam, to be born as a human being. Then Mumukshutvam, having been born as a human being, acquiring that extreme pipasa, as they call it, extreme urge to attain moksham, mumukshutvam. And the last, in order to attain moksham, Mahapurusha Samsrayaha, the access to holy men who can essentially provide us the means of attaining that moksha. These three are very, very difficult. But the first condition they say is Manushyatvam. Without that, of course, there are rare exceptions like the Gajendra and so on. But it is a lot easier if you are born with this structure as a human being. It gives you enough room to play in the arena called samsaram. It gives you enough to get into the pravritti margam, enjoy, dharma, artha, and kama. At the same time, it also paves the way for moksha. And that's the reason why the human body itself is to be venerated. That's the reason why, when anybody passes away, their body is actually was a place, nivasa sthanam, for the sattvastu or the Brahman itself. And therefore, it is treated just like you would do the statue that you see in temples. The Garbhagarathil irukra vigraham madri, in the sharirathiyum, adukku undana oru maryadai kudukanum. So we decorate the body as if, it used to be the resting place for the Lord, and all kinds of samskaras are done. But what is there in this body? Purusha Suktatla nariya sollirukku. There are a lot of hymns in Purusha Sukta that talk about the various organs of our body and how whatever is there in the great Paramapurusha is also there in our body. That's what my guru used to say. And especially the eyes, when it comes to the eyes are the portals for us to acquire knowledge, the very first portals. By God's grace, we all have eyes. We should thank the Lord for making us see. And that's a very, very important instrument for us to acquire knowledge of the external world. At the same time, if we are drawn inwards, it is possible to also get into the divine world with the Guru's grace. And you will start seeing various kinds of darshanas. And Surya and Chandra are representations for the nadis in our body. They control Ida and Pingala nadi. And Surya also controls our buddhi, while Chandra controls our mind. Unless these two are in sync with each other, we will never achieve a state of balance. And that is something that Hanuman had as a birthright. He was somebody who was endowed with extreme equanimity, that he need not have to exercise control. The control automatically existed, right? That's why when we pray to him, he will provide us that kind of a balance. It may take some time, but it will come to us definitely. So that's why perhaps Valmiki describes Chakshushi samprakashayate Chandra Surya vivoditau mukham nasikaya tasya tamraya tamrama bhavau sandhya samavisprishtam yatha tat surya mandalam. Then he describes his face which is tamram. Tamram na copper. Copper color, pure copper. Okay. Whether you buy it from Patelji's shop or other shops, it should be pure copper. Pure copper has a certain color. So that color is what was there in his face. Hanu, Hanuna cheeks. Aparama, sun also was reflecting that same color on him. Therefore, all of this during Sandhya Kalam, that shows the time of takeoff was Prata Sandhya. And then it appeared as if his face was like Surya Mandala. Okay. Then he describes the langulam or the tail. Langulancha samavidham plavamanasya shobhate ambare vayuputrasya shakradhvaja ivochitam. It appeared as if it's the fluttering of the flag of Indra. Shakra is Indra. So the tail looked like that. And Langula chakrena mahan shukladamshro nilatmajaha verosita mahaprajnaha pariveshiva bhaskaraha. He again resembled Bhaskara when the curled up tail and you could see the shining white teeth. It resembled as if it is the Surya Mandala. Okay, Bhaskaraha. Bhaskarana bhana jyoti nartam. Karaha. The one who creates jyoti is called Bhaskaraha. Okay. Not the Subhaskaraha, who has taken a movie recently, which has got into a controversy. I believe the Ba doesn't exist there. It is only Ba. It should be noted. There is so much passion about language versus culture over way of life or religion, that you can browbeat and say, I am this person, I belong to this language. And one thing to be noted is that the roots of language is serenity. Most of the languages emanate from a deep, serene state, which the originators of the language only know. The farther we get away from the originators, the less connected we will be with serenity itself. Be it any language, Tamil, Sanskrit, Kannadam, Telugu, every language is Sundaram. And it should be noted that we are not robots. Language has syllables, words, and meanings to those words. And the spoken words emanate from our body through three things: Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and Kriya Shakti, with the help of prana. And that is the science of any language. So some languages are hard in the sense there is alpa prana like ka, ba, ta, etc., and maha prana, kha, bha, tha. So the prana shakti gets attached with those letters. Tamil is a language where perhaps mahapranam is missing. So it was meant to be easier for everybody to speak without much effort. So that's the beauty of Tamil language itself. And to disconnect language from our body, that means the way of life that we lead itself is stupidity, according to me. And the way of life is what gets called by different names outside. I follow different matas. Matam. Matamna matila enna serado ada matam. Matina buddhi. Enoda buddhila దేన్ని నేను స్థిరంగా పెట్టుకుంటానో దానికి పేరు మతం. మతం అనేది ఒక ధర్మం. ధర్మం అంటే what we follow in our life is dharmam. If we don't follow, obviously we don't have the right to speak about any dharma, be it working in a factory. If I don't work in a factory, I have no right to comment on that factory. So therefore, before we speak anything about any subject, we better be prepared, which means you have to spend a lot of energy, efforts, and be sincere. If there will be failures, there will be successes, but they better come out from your own experimentation rather than your opinions of others, or worse still, opinions of others. So I may be sounding very cryptic here. I hope those who have been following what I'm talking about. In a movie, I was sleeping in the second half of the movie. Ponniyin Selvan, sorry. So basically, this is about the movie called Ponniyin Selvan, which has become a controversial topic. Arguments are supposed to lead to light if you adopt reason. And where there is heat, it's better to leave such arguments. So therefore, we let people as they be, let them be where they are. We will be where we are. Sorry for this small digression. Okay. We'll now look at sloka number 64. Tasya vanarasimhasya plavamanasya sagaram kakshantara gato vayuhu jeemuta iva garjati.
Ram, 61 இல்ல 61ல இருந்து எடுக்கணும்.
லாங்கூல சக்கரம் சொல்லிட்டேன் இல்லையா, 62 அது இதுல. ஆமா, கரெக்ட். சரி, ஸ்பிக்தேஷேன, கரெக்ட். சாரி, ஐ ஃபர்காட் தட் ஸ்லோகம். அதானே சொல்றேங்க மாமி. தேங்க்யூ, தேங்க்ஸ் ஃபார் ஸ்பிக்தேஷேனாபிதாம்ரேண ரராஜச மகாகபிஹ மஹதா தாரிதே நேவ கிரிர்கைரிக தாதுனா. அதாவது, the moment you are a kavi, you will have to describe somebody as it is, and you leave no stone unturned. அப்படின்னு பார்க்கச்சே, Valmiki is now describing the bottom part of Lord Hanuman. Okay, that is the Spigdeshena is his buttocks, as they say. He is describing அதையும் விட்டு வைக்கல. என்னக்கா, ஒரு திவ்யமான மூர்த்தி அப்படின்னு இருந்துட்டனா பிரம்மாவுடைய கிரியேஷன் சொல்லியிருக்கோம். அப்போ nothing gets excluded from Brahma's creation, isn't it? So therefore, even in Purusha Suktam, you will find description of the Lord's body and its various parts. There is nothing to shy away. The only thing is, what this gives us is a handle to the benchmark. How does a best body part look like? அப்படிங்கிறதுக்கு ஒரு ஐடியா கிடைக்கும் நம்மளுக்கு. That's the great thing that kavis help us, Mahakavis, especially somebody like Valmiki, help us get to that particular state. Saha Mahakapihi Abhitamrena Spigdeshena. Even his buttocks had the color of Tamram. Abhitamram is even more red in color. We all know that's what monkey's bottom would look like. The analogy he is giving is Daritene iva mahata gairika dhatuna. Dariteyam prithivi adine வேதத்துல சூக்தங்கள்ல வரும். தாரித்தம் அப்படின்னாக்கா as if it is split அப்படின்னு அர்த்தம். Split by mahata gairika dhatuna girihi iva raraja. Girihina malain artham. Just like a huge mountain appears to be split into two parts by the various minerals that it has. Gairika dhatuna. Gairikamna girihi gairikam. Minerals are supposed to be found in mountains. Himalayan salt. ஹிமாலயன் சால்ட்னா ரொம்ப பெரிய சால்ட்னு அந்த ஹிமாலயன் கிடையாது. இது நிஜமாவே ஹிமாலயாலேருந்து வந்த சால்ட் அப்படின்னு அர்த்தம். கைரிக கிரிஹி கைரிக தாத்துனா, just like a mountain is split, appears to be split by its dhatus, Hanuman's bottoms resembled reddish in color அப்படின்னு சொல்றார். So basically, one other thing to note is that he is the devatai for prana. He is Mahaprana himself, and different in different states of siddhi and in different states of yoga, even the bottom will change its shape. So if you look at the silai of Nataraja or the silai of some great murtis in temples, they will have a certain shape which is different from the normal state. So when the prana shakti is under control, it will have a certain shape. And that is the shape that is being perhaps described here by Mahakavi Valmiki. By the way, sorry, I forgot to thank many of you who have with great love and affection, including Jayanti Mami and Sundar Mama. They are here in person and they blessed us. Likewise, many of you have sent in your tokens of gratitude and affection. That is perhaps unwarranted for me. I am a normal human being. And what I could do with that is essentially to dedicate it at the holy feet of my gurus. And I have tried to be as sincere as I could be in dedicating it to Lord Achyuta himself. And may he take whatever token you have given to himself. So in that context, one simple request is, it will be great if you could at least have your names against your icons, because I don't want to get embarrassed when I see you in person. Many of you know me, but if I were to see you in person, I should not call you as iPhone or Samsung. So if you can scribe your name against your icons, better still if you are in a position to turn on the videos, I can at least associate the name with the person. Shabdartham illaina problem idam illaya. So but thank you so much for your affection. Okay, so sloka 64. Tasya vanarasimhasya plavamanasya sagaram kakshantaragato vayuhu jimutaiva garjati. Sagaram plavamanasya tasya vanarasimhasya kakshantaragataha vayuhu jimutaiva garjati. So we have seen description of his bahus, description of his eyes, face, then the tails, then the bottom. Now comes the, and of course he has described his teeth also. Yeah. Now he's talking about the Lord has spread out his arms and therefore his armpits are seen. So this is a description of his kakshantaram naka armpits nartham. Seriya? So looks like Mahakavi Valmiki was an aerospace engineer. Edukka solrena, when a flight is at its cruising altitude, you will see the action of turbulence, and romba vegathula porache you will see the sound that is emanating, isn't it? Because of the speed of the aircraft as well as the atmospheric friction, etc. That is what is described here. Enna solrarnaka, sagaram plavamanasya tasya vanarasimhasya kakshantaragataha garjati. Sagaraha garjati. See, he's not only an aerospace engineer. Valmiki is not only an aerospace engineer, he is also a sound engineer. Hanuman is flying at such an altitude. The vayu that is going below his armpits is causing enough turbulence that the sagaram is reverberating. The ocean is reverberating Garjati. Epdina Jeemuta iva Garjati. Jeemutam naka thundering nartham. It appeared as if the ocean is reverberating with that thunder. So that should give you, I mean, perhaps we can calculate using physics as to if you were to take the decibels of thunder, it should be possible to calculate the speed and the height at which Hanuman was flying. It's tempting, isn't it? I don't know how many of us are still good in physics or maths. You can give this as homework to your children. Okay. So, I mean, these things we should be able to now quantify. So perhaps that's an interesting dimension here. Next. Khe yata nipatyulka yuttaranta dvinisritaha drishyate sanubandha cha tatha sakapi kunjaraha. So next, he is describing the overall view of Hanuman now. Okay. Uttarantate vinisritaha sanubandhaha ulkaha khe yatha drishyate saha kapikunjaraha vanaraha tata nipatati. So Hanuman is, see, again the aerospace engine is coming. It's not only going at one speed, he's going up and down. Okay. Just like our aircrafts, they go up and down. Only thing is when they come down, we all get butterflies in our stomach, isn't it? So like that here, how did that scene look like? You know, he's flying up and down and he is somebody who is a Maha Tejasvi, right? So the analogy he's now giving here is that of a ulkaha, ulkanaka meteors, okay? Just like meteors, they appear in the sky. K, khana akasham. Okay, K-H-A, kha. The word K abdinaka in the akasham abdinartham. Uttarantate vinisrita, from the northern part abdingra. So the meteors, he is also an astronomer now, Mahakavi Valmiki. So meteors which are released from the northern part, the way they appear in the sky, similarly, Hanuman resembled whenever he flew down during his flight. That is the meaning of this particular slokam. Sanubandhana, that which accompanies nartham. Next. Patat patanga sankasho vyayatashubhe kapihi pravriddha iva matangaha kakshaya badhyamanaya. Patat patanga sankashaha vyayataha kapihi badhyamanaya kakshaya pravriddha matangaha iva sushubhe. He is now talking about the fact that unlike an aircraft, the only difference is Hanuman will grow in size and he can also shrink in size. So now he is talking about the fact that while he is flying, he is expanding himself. Now, what is the upamanam or the analogy he is giving to that particular aspect? Okay, is that clear? So one aspect is to describe Hanuman as it is in his normal, height and so on. The other is to describe him when he enlarges himself. The enlarging process he described when Hanuman was on top of the Mahendragiri. Now he is describing the same process when he is doing it while he is flying up in the sky. Okay. Patat patanga sankashaha. Abdina patanna vedadin artham or setting. So patanga sankashaha, here the resemblance is to that of a setting sun. Okay. Vyayataha, romba broada irukku artham. Kapihi badhyamanaya kakshaya pravriddha matangaha iva sushve. Matangaha abdina elephant in artham. So when you tie an elephant with a rope, what do you think will happen? First of all, it will kick us out, isn't it? It will not allow us to do that. So this is a hypothetical question. But imagine you are tying the rope around the elephant, right? If you are able to do that, the elephant will get into a state of agitation and anxiety. What do you think is the first thing that happens to us when somebody scolds us or comments us or critiques us? What happens to us? You can unmute and say. What is the first reaction that happens? Sorry?
Ego is hurt.
Ego is, I want a physiological impact.
Anger. We are angry.
That is
Pressure,
We get angry.
That is still not physiological. Lata is getting closer. Somebody else? There are two Lata speaking. One my sister and the other Sri.
face redden.
Face reddens. Okay.
You puff up.
Yes, exactly. So basically, you have an influx of heavy breathing. So what happens is the elephant's stomach will bloat. It will try to expand. So that is the analogy Mahakavi is giving here. Basically, Pravriddhaiva Matangaha Kaksheya Badhyamanaya. When the Matangaha is bound by a rope, it shows its anger with that, and it expands. And it also resembles that of a setting sun. So basically, the setting sun, so to say, when the sun sets, it also seems to enlarge. Yeah? It's all relative. The sun never shrinks or grows. But from a relative perspective, when the sun sets, it appears bigger than what it was. So two analogies are given to the fact that Hanuman, when he grows in size up in the sky, this is what he resembled. Very interesting analogies. Uparishta charirena chayaya chavagadhaya sagare maruta vishta naurivasi tada kapihi uparishtat sharirena sagare avagadhaya chayaya cha maruta vishta nauriva asit. So this is now a description of, so now Mahakavi Valmiki is now becoming somebody who is proficient in optics. Okay. Physics la optics no chapter irukku. Convex lens, concave lens, there is a plane mirror, there's rays of light which come reflect, some gets refracted, right? And there's a real image, apparent image, right? This will be clear to those who are in their GCSE, perhaps. Now there's a description of two things here. So when the Vanara, Lord Hanuman, was flying up in the air, his shadow, it reflected in the ocean. Okay. Unlike aeroplanes, their shadows perhaps will never be seen on the ocean. Hanuman's shadow was seen on the ocean, in the ocean. Its reflection was seen. And how did that resemble? Okay, so now he has described enough of Hanuman flying. Now, just like they say, who is the wife of Surya Bhagavan?
Chaya.
Chaya Devi.
Chaya.
Devi. The shadow is the wife of Surya Bhagavan. So she accompanied Udave Mata. அவர் எங்க போனாலும் பின்னாடியே வருவா இல்லையா? அப்பேற்பட்ட ஒரு பர்சன்னா சாயா தான். The one that does not leave Surya aside at all is the shadow of Surya Bhagavan. Just like that here, the shadow of Hanuman, look at the optics that is being described. It now falls on the ocean, and the ocean is not a static thing. There are waves like that. So the shadow of Hanuman appeared as if it was like a navam, that is boat, that is being moved by the winds. Adin arthanga. Maruta vishtaha nauriva. Just like the boats are moved forward by the winds in an ocean. Just like that, the shadow of Hanuman which got reflected onto the ocean. That is how it resembled. Yam yam desham samudrasya jagama samaha kapihi sa tasyoruvegena sonmada iva lakshate. So now we are at a cruising altitude. So we are all eager to see what all is going to happen. Yeah. Saha mahakapihi samudrasya yam yam desham jagama saha saha tasya uruvegena sonmadaha iva lakshate. So physics la fluid mechanics அப்படின்னு ஒரு டாபிக் இருக்கும். It's a deeper topic that talks about eddies na தெரியுமா? Eddy currents. In the wake அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம். In the wake of this event, WAKE. Wake actually I believe is a term that is borrowed from fluid mechanics. Okay. And you know, so there are certain aspects of fluid, how the fluid particles behave on their own and when there is an external force that is acting on them. Romba science படிச்சிருக்கூடாது. What is being described here is wherever Hanuman flew, yam yam desham samudrasya jagama mahakapi, wherever he went, saha saha, right? Sanskritam sagaran அப்படின்னா புல்லிங்கம், அதனால சஹான்னு வருது. Wherever he went, samudrasya desham tasya uruvegena sonmadaha iva. Just by the uruna thighs, vegam, because of the high speed with which he is flying and his thighs, the sagara below, it started to sonmada, unmadam pudichi, it started to roar அப்படிங்கிறார். It became riotous with what அப்படின்னாக்கா, with whirlpools. Okay, so we all know the impact of wind on water. It always creates turbulence and whirlpools. So that is exactly what is described here. Especially in Sagaram, you will see whirlpools and foams that are being formed with great turbulence that comes from high up in the air. Okay, so that is the description of again the Samudram and its state when Hanuman flew high above. Sagarasyormijalanam urasa shailavarshmanam abhignamstu mahavegaha upluvesa mahakapihi. Mahavegaha saha mahakapihi shailavarshmanam sagarasya urmijalanam urasa abhignanne pupluve. So the Kavi's here I would not call it imagination. He's seeing what is happening. So he saw Hanuman, the aspect of the speed, optics, everything he described. Then he described what is happening to Sagaram. So who is Sagara going to impact now next? The mountains that are close to the Sagara. So the waves of the Sagara that are thus, in turbulence because of the Uruvegam, what did they do? They go and hit the mountains. So that is being described in this slokam. என்ன சொல்றாருன்னா, ஷைல வர்ஷ்மனாம்னா மவுண்டன்ஸ் அர்த்தம். வர்ஷ்மானா ஷரீரம், ஷைலம்னா ராக்ஸ். வாட்ஸ் த பாடி ஆஃப் அ மவுண்டன் அப்படின்னா இட்ஸ் மேட் ஆஃப் ராக்ஸ். தட்ஸ் த மீனிங் ஆஃப் ஷைல வர்ஷ்மனாம். சாகரஸ்ய ஊர்மிஜாலானாம், ஊர்மிஜாலானாம்னா த ரோஸ் ஆஃப் வேவ்ஸ்னு அர்த்தம். மீனிங் a full series of waves. Urasa abhignanne, so they started to hit the the chest of the mountains, and they rose higher because they hit the mountains. That is the description that is made here. Kapivatascha balavane meghavatascha nisritaha sagaram bhima nirghosham kampayamasa masaturbrasham. Balavane kapivatascha nisritaha meghavatascha bhima nirghosham Sagaram Brisham Kampaya Masatuhu. So this is again a description of the forceful wind that is generated because Hanuman is flying at a very high speed and with his massive body. What is the impact it is creating in the atmosphere? Other description, Balavan is forceful. Kapivatascha, the wind that is generated, Vatamna wind. Kapivatam, the wind that is generated by Hanuman. Nisritaha, it was rushing forward. Meghavatascha, and the wind of the clouds. The Vatam because of the clouds. Bhima Nirghosham, it started creating. What is the meaning of Bhimam? Great, Mahan, Abdinartham. Bhayankaramana, Abdin Solrania. Bhima Nirghosham, creating dreadful sounds. Sagaram, Bhrisham, Kampaya Masatuhu. They started to, shake up the ocean below. So that is the aspect with which we should treat the Vegam with which Hanuman is flying up above in the skies. Essentially, there is a description of the vital elements here, isn't it? Vayu Tattvam, Bhumi Tattvam, and Ap Tattvam. So they are all part and parcel of Prakriti Tattvam. Adile, the way with which Prana Shakti will act when it is directed towards a goal. Sometimes what happens, even an ocean which is calm will get into a state of commotion, right? And it is for the benefit only. So what happens many times, there are a lot of superstitions these days. First of all, I should not get into spirituality until I am a senior citizen, isn't it? If I am 60 plus, I am entitled to talk about things like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Rama, and they are not meant for, youngsters at all. They should stay focused on where they are. Join the rat race and fall into the ocean like the bagpiper took the rats away, isn't it? But what happens is that when we get on to the dharmic path, it may so happen that you will feel that my entire life is disturbed. Okay. What happened here? I was quiet and calm. The moment I started getting into a path, something is getting rattled. Well, so be it. This is exactly what is described by the Mahakavi here. That's the symbolic, the hidden meaning that we should all look at. And especially when you are being guided by a guru. When you have a goal, when you have a guru and you have surrendered to the guru with the aspect of the fact that there is a Purusha Prayatnam also. You are putting in the right effort with sincerity that is required there. When all this is met, it may so happen that our lives will get rattled. But that churning of the ocean, Sagara Manthanam, is very, very important. Only when you churn the ocean, you may get either Visham, like Hala Halaha, or you may also get the wealths like Mahalakshmi and all other glorious things that you can enjoy. So what is important is to churn the ocean. We should not leave the ocean as it is, because Sagaram is full of wealth. Likewise, our life is full of wealth. Only it is for us to exploit it in the right manner. So with those words, we'll conclude our session today. Narayana. Guru Charanambuja Nirbhara Bhakta Guru Charanambuja Nirbhara Bhakta Samsara Chirad Bhava Mukta Guru Charanambuja. Krishna Krishna Sendriya Manasa Niyamadevam Sendriya Manasa Niyamadevam द्रक्ष्यसि निज हृदयस्थं देवं भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते ये कायेन वाचा कृष्ण मनसा इन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्या आत्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै श्रीमन्नारायणायेति समर्पयामि। सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु, श्रीरामचन्द्रार्पणमस्तु। Have a great day and a week ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.